see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous line o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the and the home of the that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the and the home of the
Before the American Revolution, our founding fathers considered themselves slaves of the empire. And then Thomas Jefferson read John Locke. And he said that our freedom was not given us by the king. It was an unalienable right given us by God. It is irrevocable, non-transferable, and unsellable. The founders understood that, and this is why, at the end of the Declaration of Independence, they put, "We pledge our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor." They said they would die before they'd be slaves. I won't just die before I be a slave. I'll kill before I be one. So all y'all out there to say you have no choice, well, the founders showed you. It was Patrick Henry that said, "Give me liberty or give me death." And on that fateful night when George Washington had to cross the Delaware River in the ice and the snow, or the American Revolution would be lost, they said, "General, what are the passwords?" He said, "Victory or death. Either we're successful tonight or we all die." That's the ideals of a free man. And I am a free man. So all you out there that believes that someone has to give you your freedom, you're admitting that you're a slave. If you come try to take my freedom away, God has given me the right to defend myself. And I got two things that'll get you off of me. That is Jesus and my 38. Slaves is a choice.
Grace and peace, you guys. Welcome back to Unshakable. Listen, the devil done jumped up in my system. It was looping the intro. I'm so happy to see you guys. Welcome to tonight's live stream. By God's grace, we are going to get through this show. Whether you are joining us on YouTube or Facebook or Rumble or on the Twitter, welcome to Unshakable with April Chapman. You guys, tonight, we have a power-packed show. So much has happened over the past couple of days. I've been super busy around here trying to get things done. And I am so behind the news cycle that it's not even funny. The first thing I want to do is let's get some housekeeping things out of the way. The first thing we need to do, y'all need to go on and get these likes up, okay? You come into the live chat. I see you guys are being gregarious and you're fellowshipping and doing all the things, but the first thing you probably meant to do but forgot to do, which is to like this video, share it with your tribe. We are going to have a great time tonight. So, also, let's go ahead and thank our moderators who join us every time we go live. They keep the live chat flowing. They try to keep everybody on task. Sometimes people get a little disrespectful and sometimes they got to block you. It's really nothing personal. We just don't want a whole lot of shenanigans over here on the channel. You are free to disagree. You are free to engage, but what you cannot do is be disrespectful. So let's give a round of applause to our moderators. Thank you so much for your faithfulness and your ability to show up for me no matter what. I love each and every last one of you. But tonight, y'all, I printed out my notes in like 14-year-old font, meaning the text is so tiny that thank you, Dion. Thank you very much. Y'all, the text is so daggone small that I hope I'm going to be able to read my notes tonight. For the most part, I just have some information about what the Madison police reported as it relates to this Durell Ruiz story. But before we begin, I want to get some things out of the way. Whenever I cover stories like this, you kind of have to give some disclaimers because as you guys know, if you are a regular viewer of the show, oftentimes my commentary is very sharp. It is kind of spicy, but I don't want the commentary and the truth that we talk about tonight to overshadow the fact that somebody has lost their life. A family is grieving. We understand that all image bearers are made in the image of God. And so, therefore, we want to give balanced commentary, but we don't want to sidestep the truth. So, the first thing I will say is let me go ahead and read you this one particular text from Proverbs 18, verse 17, which says, "The one who states his case first seems right until the other comes and examines him." That examination, the reason why I brought that text up is because the star of tonight's show is Ben Crump again. Y'all, this man wasted no time before he was running down to the Mississippi Delta to stir up some race strife down there. And to be fair, you guys, I covered the Nolan Wells story extensively, not as much as I wanted to, but I think I gave it a good amount of exposure so that we could discern the truth from the lies and get an idea of exactly what was Ben Crump really trying to do. And I liken what Ben Crump was trying to do. I draw this parallel between what happened down in Albany, Georgia during the civil rights movement. Ben Crump didn't really get the racial he didn't get the racial strife and chaos that he was expecting. The community down there in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, the investigation with Nolan Wells is still ongoing. Outside of social media flare-ups, he really didn't get the response he was expecting. Nobody tore up Ocean Springs, Mississippi because allegedly some white boys were involved in some sort of murder mystery with a black boy. The narrative started to fall apart. It started to unravel. And basically, once Ben Crump realized that the money raised was starting to slow down and the math wasn't mathing and the facts really weren't supporting and truly on his side, he went after something else. So now Ben Crump has apparently packed up the traveling racial grievance roadshow. And now he's moved on to his next destination, right? So, like I said, when the racial narrative surrounding Nolan Wells failed to produce sustained unrest down there in Mississippi, Crump, he didn't just suddenly develop an interest in patient's evidence or some personal responsibility. That's not what happened. He simply found another case. He does what he always does. He goes and chases another ambulance. This is why I got him running on my thumbnail if you saw it when you entered into the live chat. So this time, he found one case that's got all the ingredients necessary for maximum racial agitation, right? So you got your police officers, okay? Because you can't really have a true race hoax without implicating law enforcement. You know, they represent authority and law and order, the opposite of chaos and strife. So this story in Madison, Wisconsin, it's got police officers, and then you have a fatal shooting. Forget the facts don't matter. Okay, you just have your disturbing cell phone footage and add in a grieving family, particularly a crying daughter, throw in some Democrat politicians, professional protesters and agitators, and a deceased man who has like approximately 40 reported criminal convictions. Like, you 30, is he 38 years old? I can't remember how old this man is. How do you have a rap sheet as almost numerically equivalent to your attained age at the time of your demise? Like, I mean, that's pretty impressive. So he's got some convictions, including 8 of them involved resisting or threatening or obstruction and injuring police officers. So my question is, I am not saying that all of those prior those prior altercations justify, like, well, we just gonna shoot him and die now. That's not what I'm saying. Make the category distinction. What I am saying is pattern recognition matters. And are we just supposed to treat all of this, his prior behavior, as completely irrelevant? I am arguing no. Like I said, Corey Ruiz's death, it's not something that decent people don't celebrate when people die. Right now, the Bible does make an argument for if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You reap what you sow. This man has sown a lifetime, lots and lots of seeds, just being destructive and a whole community criminal nuisance. But refusing to celebrate this man's death, it doesn't require us to lie about his life, right? Like, two things can be true at the same time. It doesn't require us to just pretend that his encounter with police occurred in a vacuum. This dude knows what he's doing. And this time, as we're going to watch as I show the footage, this man, it was like 4 police officers and they still could not restrain him. He showed up to this altercation, in my opinion, as Biggie Smalls would say, ready to die. Okay, like, none of this requires us to surrender our judgment and our discernment to Ben Crump, the racial ambulance chaser why does this man always seem to arrive at the scene before all of the facts do? I mean, he takes to the mic, starts calling it a homicide or an execution. He uses all kinds of inflammatory language. And so what I want to do tonight is we're going to talk about why Ben Crump functions as an agent of chaos. Like, everywhere he goes, it's just chaos. It seems like it follows him, or does it seem like he's chasing after it, right? All of the behavior that is always assigned to the people who happen to retain him as their legal representation, it's always criminal behavior repackaged as mystery victimization. It's always him didn't do nothing. He was getting his life together. He was finally paying his child support. He don't, beat up on pregnant women no more. He was only high that one time. He was only passing fake counterfeit bills because he needed to get him some bread and some milk. Like, look. Okay, I could go on and on, but eventually you've got to acknowledge that compassion void of truth eventually becomes propaganda. So, like I said, not celebrating Corey Ruiz's death at all. His family's grieving. He has a young, I think, a daughter at 13 years old. We're going to hear from her. She lost her father, even though it was apparent that he was in and out of her life and not really paying child support. But listen, I get it. My daddy had a whole boatload of baggage and problems, but that was still my daddy. Okay? The enemy here, death itself, is an enemy. But as Christians, if we want to think sober-mindedly about this, biblical compassion doesn't require us to be intellectually dishonest. And I hope you guys know enough about me to know the Word of God is my objective standard of authority. And when we are evaluating these cultural and social cases and all of this, the political there's a political undercurrent surrounding all of this, and it's not happening in a vacuum. I mean, this is the midterms. Like, we're going into the midterms, and y'all know, y'all don't have to like it, but it doesn't make it any less true. The Democrat Party needs all of this as a part of their 2026 election interference strategy. They did the same thing in 2020. They always have to find some sort of chaotic, disruptive, Marxist-tinged angle in order to garner sympathy and votes, because they can't win on policy. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to examine precisely what Ben Crump's racial outrage machine attempted to instigate up in Madison, Wisconsin. One thing you'll notice about Ben Crump is he always wants an emotional verdict before we get all the evidence. Like, that's why I said the facts don't matter. He will use all sorts of inflammatory language, and he's very precise, even though he can't speak worth a darn. And half the time he can't pronounce most of the words he's trying to say. You have to give this man credit. He's incredibly talented at selecting the right buzzwords and catchphrases and using the appropriate inflammatory language to get you all emotionally riled up, got you out here screaming no justice, no peace, and you don't even know what had happened and who shot John. Okay? So, here's what happened. The authorities are reporting that on July 22nd, Madison police, they responded to reports involving someone checking vehicle doors. So listen, I don't know about you, but when I'm walking down the street, whether it's a tree-lined street or just a random urban city, metropolis, I don't I don't walk around checking people's doors. Like, I have a car and I know what my car looks like. And so I'm not looking to see if other people's vehicles are open. So as the young kids would say, this is sus. Like, what are you doing? Um, he was also alleged to have been stealing bicycles and possibly unlawfully entering a residence. So the police say that Ruiz, when he sees them approach, he fled on a bicycle. Like, he's like, I'm about to outrun the popos. And this altercation, or him attempting to evade the police, is what led the officers through the neighborhood backyard. So they're chasing him, right? You got 4 cops. They eventually approach him and confront him. Well, what happens is, during the struggle, police are saying that old boy produced a fixed blade knife, not some sort of Army Swiss knife that he was using to fillet his fish on the corner, or no. This is, I saw a picture of it and I wish I had pulled it to show you guys. It was some sort of fixed blade knife. And as a result of that, they struggled with him, and one officer was reportedly injured by said knife, and another one was injured during the struggle. So, what is the operative word, boys and girls, in what I just said? If the police are pursuing you, you've been checking cars, stealing bikes, and trying to, unlawfully enter private residences. The question is, why are they struggling with you? The word struggle would imply that there's some resistance. They're trying to apprehend you and get a level of control over you, and you just fighting because you can't be held down because it's the white man, right? The white man trying to hold you down, and white people can't hold you down because you are Coy Ruiz, right? So, because of the presence of this weapon, and I would argue, and I don't think anybody on this live stream, including my the opponents and the critics and the detractors, would argue that a fixed blade knife is a lethal weapon. And the moment he introduces this lethal weapon into the scene, the officers at that point, they're like, oh, we got to take this to the next level. Now, before the knife, right? Before the gunshots, old boy they tried to subdue this man with a taser. Now, let me tell y'all something. I ain't never told this story publicly, but when I was in middle school, I ain't no killer, but don't push me. I have been tased before, not by the police. Do not start some nasty rumor, talk about she got a former life of crime and they had tased her. That's not what happened. Okay, this story gonna get a little weird, but y'all gotta trust me. There's a point to this story. So I was at church. I know it's starting off wrong. Why are you at church and we're about to hear a story about a taser? I'm about to explain. So I was at church Thursday night, youth fellowship, youth group. And one of the older early 20s young adults was messing around with all of us middle schoolers, and I think he had some sort of security job or like private security I don't know, but he had one of those handheld tasers. And me and all my friends were all enamored that Harold had a taser. So when you're in middle school, you just stupid. Like your frontal lobe is not developed. You're young, and literally you are dumb. You just retarded. You are. So he had already. He should be in jail, and we should have been slapped for being so stupid. But he had already tased a few other young people. Like we were volunteering. Oh, I want to know what it feels like, right? So some of my other friends had already gotten tased, and I saw them hit the floor. And something on the inside of me was like, you know what? Let me see if it really, really hurts, right? So I was like, okay, you can tase me, but like tase me in my leg, right? In my thigh. Like I had rationalized that if he tased me in the fattiest portion of my body, that it would be okay. Y'all, we are in the fellowship hall in church on a Thursday night. And when he stuck that taser in my leg, I was like, yeah, I'm about to go meet the king. I was like, take me to the king. I'm going to die. And he tased me and I dropped. And it took a minute for me to come to. And then afterwards, because I'm young and stupid, I'm mad that I let him do it. But I'm laughing because I'm like, I got tased. Like, ooh, like it was the dumbest thing ever. What is the point? I've been tased before, okay? If this man, you have 4 police officers, I know y'all like, we learn something new every day. Why is 12-year-old April in the 7th grade sustaining a taser encounter? Because I'm 12 in the 7th grade. Like, just flow with it anyway. I've been tased before, and it wasn't like a long. He just did it enough, you know what I'm saying? So I could get the experience and get the street cred. I forgot all about this story. Anyway, so if 4 police officers cannot get you reasonably under control and they have to tase you and the taser don't work, like you got a demon. Okay, something's wrong with you. So they tase him. They can't control him. He's got a knife. Police are injured. I mean, at what point, I want to ask particularly the pro wokey woke blackity black crowd, like, how much abuse and damage and injury are police officers supposed to sustain before they can fire a shot to protect themselves? Like, I mean, are they really supposed to be sacrificial lambs? Like, you can fight them, kick them, bite them, spit on them. The taser doesn't work and you're still fighting. Pull out a knife, you can stab them. Like, what is the continuum? When is it okay to fire a shot? That's kind of one of the questions that I had. So as a result, 3 shots are fired. Homie dies. And, you know, condolences to his family. But now the independent investigation is underway. The police officers, because of the jurisdiction and the rules in this municipality, they were not wearing body cameras. And there is publicly available cell phone footage, but it didn't capture every moment from every angle. This is what Ben Crump is exploiting. Those limitations matter, you guys, but so does the fact that there are witnesses. It's been reported that people were yelling, "He's got a knife." Okay? Now, I want to cover this fairly. That doesn't resolve every factual or legal question. It does, however, it raises some serious questions and it undermines this suggestion that the police are these pigs in a blanket hunting down people and looking to kill and execute folks on sight. It undermines this suggestion that the police simply just invented the knife after shooting an unarmed, completely passive man. That is not true. There was nothing passive about this man's behavior. So the honest position would be, let's investigate the shooting. Like, let's just keep it real simple. Release the evidence, and then, I don't know, determine whether the officer's use of force, deadly force, was legally justified. Now, I'm not a criminal investigator. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a prosecutor. I'm not a cop. But if I was a cop, let me tell you something. You pull out a knife on me, you might as well just fire me because I'm shooting. Like, I go to work to protect and serve, but my goal is to come home. And your aggression, your inability to follow basic commands, your desire to live a life of crime doesn't give you the right, or puts me in a position where I have to, at the last resort, I don't want to kill you. But if you play stupid games, why are you shocked that you've won now the stupidest prize of all? You've paid for it with your life. So I am arguing that let's let the investigation play out. But do you think Ben Crump is waiting for that process? Do you really think, like, the man is dishonest and he doesn't operate in good faith? In my opinion, this man has already gone on record and has called this an execution. He is purposely using that language. He knows that the Antifa and the BLM crowd can't think. He know they slow, right? Like he is. He's already demanded criminal charges. He doesn't even have all the facts. He's already declared that there will be no peace and there will be no business as usual until Madison, Wisconsin delivers the results that he wants. Notice how he postures himself as the judge and the jury and all the things. Like, he is setting the standard for what needs to happen in this case. I'm sorry, that's not how investigations work. To me, it sounds a little coercive. This is why these civil rights attorneys, they're all cut from the same Marxist cloth. If you find, let me rephrase that. I don't want to say all civil rights attorneys. Let me rephrase. The civil rights attorneys that align themselves with the civil rights apparatus of the 1960s, that Marxist communistic faction, those are the civil rights people that I'm talking about. The agitator, the disruptor, i.e. like your Jamal Bryant types, your Al Sharptons, your Ben Crump, that's who I'm talking about. Your Tamika Mallory's, anybody associated with BLM, yes. That's what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead. I'm going to share a news clip. Hopefully I can get this system though. You see, you ain't doing right. You're already on the wrong screen. You see how it's disobedient? All right. Let's take a look at this clip, you guys, to see what the local Fox affiliate is reporting.
Of confrontation shooting was just the latest in a long string of confrontations between Ruiz and Madison police.
Fox 6 investigator Brian Polson has been digging into a deep trove of public files. He joins us with more on that, Brian.
Yeah, Ben and Kim, I want to be clear up front. Nothing that happened in any past criminal case has any bearing on whether last week's officer-involved shooting will be deemed to be a justified act or a criminal act. That will be determined by the Wisconsin Division of Criminal Investigation, which is handling the case. But public records do shed light on the degree to which Corey Ruiz had previously interacted with City of Madison police, not to mention other police departments in Dane County. We obtained more than 24 criminal complaints dating back nearly 20 years involving Ruiz. They show that not only did he have a violent criminal history, but that he had repeatedly engaged in physical struggles with police. Over the course
This man has a history of struggles with the police. I feel confident in saying that he's quite familiar with the fact that he's supposed to follow commands, and he is quite familiar with the consequences that ensue when you choose to fight the police. But Ben Crump is out here saying that this is an execution. I understand what people are saying, that look, why are you talking about his past? We're not saying he deserved to die because of his past. What we are establishing is a pattern of resistance, meaning it is not that this man lacks comprehension. It is that he refuses to submit himself under the authority and the lawful commands that the police are giving. When you do that, what do you think is going to happen? I'm just saying.
course of 2 decades, Ruiz was charged 9 separate times and convicted in 8 of them of resisting, obstructing, threatening, or injuring police officers. 5 of those cases involved City of Madison police. Others involved the town of Madison, Sun Prairie, Fitchburg, and Capitol Police.
He's a hometown hero. Like, he a hometown criminal celebrity. Everybody knows him. How are 5 of these 9 cases in the city of Madison alone? 4 of them, town of Madison, Sun Prairie, Fitchburg, Capitol Police. This man has been wreaking havoc on the metro area of Madison, Wisconsin. Charged 9 times since 2007. My son was born in 2008 and he's 18. That is an entire lifetime. You've been for an entire lifetime raising hell, literally. And for whatever reason, we don't know whether it's soft on crime policies, the lack of prosecution. Why are you out? Like, at some point, I know people may disagree. As a conservative, I realized how effective of a talking point it was to levy criticism at Joe Biden for that crime bill. But listen, were things not out of control or not? Like, we could have used it as some racial leverage, but like, look how racist he is, putting all those black men in jail. And in the next breath, you can also say, but it ain't like they was randomly locking up black folks for no reason. The crime bill was necessary because crime was out of control. That 3 strikes rule, it was like, listen, we go forbear with you 3 times, and after that, we're done. It is clear that rehabilitation is not in your purview, and you are not interested in reforming yourself. So therefore, we're going to do it for you. The law, the police do not bear the sword in vain. Romans 13 teaches us this. It is to punish the wicked doer, the lawbreaker. It ain't for those of us on the outside who are just minding our business, trying to live at peace with all men. We don't want no problems. We just, just leave us alone. The law exists to restrain the lawless one. So this is a lot. Oh, we're going to go through all of it.
In a 2021 case, 4 City of Madison police officers say Ruiz resisted arrest and threatened the officers. According to prosecutors, Ruiz said, quote, "I'll beat the bleep out of you. I'll knock your bleeping lenses to your eyes. You better kill me now. And I hope the next offender you come across kills you and everyone you care about."
Oh, okay. Well, listen, now I'm not one of those name it, claim it kind of Christians, nor do I believe that we can speak things into existence. However, Lil Buddy wrote a check that his butt couldn't cash, and it looks like it cleared the bank. You better kill me now. Now, we're not saying that these police officers had prior knowledge of these statements. We're not saying that. We're not saying that, oh, well, we heard him say this before, so now that we can't control him, we about to put him out his misery. We're not saying that either. But it's obvious this man has a history of making terroristic threats toward law enforcement. He gonna beat the out of somebody, knock your lenses out you. I mean, if you froggy, you better jump, pimping. And it looks like the police jump back, because now you're saying, I hope the next offender you come across kills you and everyone you care about. This man has malice and hatred in his heart. How else do you explain these types of ramblings and statements? I mean, you're saying these things to the police, and now in another encounter with them, it is obvious you have no regard for human life because you've pulled out a knife attempting to cause physical bodily harm, if not lethal harm, to these officers. Should we wait for the investigation to be completed? Yes, but based on what we know so far, and even the one angle of that cell phone footage that we have, I'm trying to understand why Ben Crump is remotely thinking that this has the legs that he wants it to have. It doesn't have the legs, buddy. Outside of having the necessary conditions, such as police being involved, Ruiz is a Hispanic last name, so he might be, his daddy might be black, or I don't know, but I mean, outside of that, the police, a gun, he's dead. Ben, you got to do better. You have to source better cases because this one is not it. This one is not it.
Now, it's important to note, Madison police do not have body-worn cameras, so we have no way to independently verify if Ruiz made those statements or if their quotations are accurate. However, Ruiz did plead guilty to making the threats in that case. In a statement to the Fox,
the man pled guilty, so he's basically saying, yeah, I said it. I'll say it again if given the opportunity. You don't plead guilty. Like, what? Who? That doesn't even require any commentary. I just wanted to I wanted to highlight that he pled guilty to saying all of those things. And yet he's out on the street, terrorizing more people, robbing and stealing, more, property damage to others. We're going to get into the rap sheet.
6 investigators today. Ruiz family attorney B. Ivory Lamar writes in part, while aspects of Corey's past are matters of public record, they do not answer the central question in this case, whether the actions taken by law enforcement on the day Mr. Ruiz lost his life were lawful, reasonable, and consistent with constitutional standards. You can read the full statement at fox6now.com. In the newsroom, Brian Polson, Fox 6 Investigators.
Brian, the Ruiz family's lawyer said last week that Corey may have had challenges with mental health. Did you learn anything about that from the criminal case files?
Yeah, there go the scapegoat. Now we got either they were just getting themselves together, getting their life on track, or they crazy. So now people who refuse to submit themselves to lawful commands and have a rap sheet longer than a CVS receipt, it must be mental health. My question is, how do we hold anyone accountable if everyone can pull I have mental health problems? Look, I could say I got mental health problems. To be fair, I think all fallen sons and daughters of Adam have mental health problems because we live in this fallen, sinful world, and we were born in sin and shaped in iniquity, and therefore our nature at its core is corrupt. We are sinful and wicked to the core. You don't even know the depth of your own depravity. So one could argue that, I am a sinner. However, you still have to reconcile the fact that, yes, God is sovereign. He has provided a way to salvation, but man is still responsible. You are still held accountable for your sin because all men everywhere are given the command to repent and saying, I got mental health problems, therefore I should be absolved. He knows how to fight. He definitely knows how to fight. He knows how to procreate and make a baby because he's got some kids. He knows how to rob and steal and do all kinds of things. But when it comes to submitting himself to lawful commands, now all of a sudden it's my mental health. My mental health precludes me and prevents me from doing what I'm supposed to do. Okay, well, that's fine. Well, while you work on it, we're going to lock you up and we're going to separate you from the rest of the population because it's for your mental health and for the safety of others. That's pretty much where I am. So let's finish this clip and then we're going to get into some of the things Mr. Ruiz has been involved in.
We did learn a little bit. In 2022, Ruiz was charged for getting into a fight in the Dane County Jail, and in that case, his attorney raised competency concerns, saying Ruiz could not remember why he was in jail and would only give one-word answers to his questions. However, there is nothing in the public record that suggests he was ever found not competent, and he ultimately was convicted in that case. In a 2021 sentencing, Ruiz himself told the judge he has issues, or had issues with his mental capacity that caused him to seek out drugs to, quote, mummify all of the bad memories, end quote, of things that he had been through. Again, no indication, though, of any specific mental health diagnosis or treatment in the public records we reviewed.
Brian Polson in the newsroom. Appreciate.
You know, y'all know how I am. I'm spicy, and you know, when I give this commentary, y'all, my apologies. Something happened with my camera. My scenes are just, they don't want to act right. How do I get back to where I was? I'm scared to do it. Let me see. Y'all just sit tight for a minute. Because the problem is me. If I press this button and I go away, I'm coming back. I just got to figure something out. Okay? I'm sorry. Oh, it worked. Okay. Listen, Linda. All right. So we're going to hear from the family and Ben Crump. But here's what I want to say about something that the news report mentioned was that, you know, he turned to drugs to mummify all of the thoughts. I understand so many people are walking around with a boatload of trauma, and they're in the out, right? They're amongst the rest of the population, and you don't really know what people are going through and how they are suffering. But this man is without excuse, just like the rest of us, because you can't justify being a whole terror on 2 feet because you are having inner torment and you've got trauma from childhood that's unresolved. Like, we want to help you, but we can't help you at the expense of others. Like, people's safety, the police officer safety. Like, we can't live in a well-ordered society where we allow you to run amok and we demonstrate fake compassion or toxic compassion toward you, where we just want to rub your back and let you talk through it without saying, well, no, you need to be restrained and separated from everyone else because you are a danger. You might be a danger to yourself and you might be a danger toward others. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, Ben Crump, he has jumped on this bandwagon, and it's not because he's following the facts. No, what Ben Crump is doing, he is following the formula. Okay, Ben Crump has a formula that he follows, and he's remarkably consistent. We've seen it time and time again. First, you have to find a death involving a minority. That part is important because if it's a white person, he has no interest in that. And then you have to find not just a minority, but it must involve an institution that can be portrayed as systemically racist. You know, there's always a racist angle to all of this because that's what really gives the incident and the story weight. And then what you have to do, a part of the Ben Crump ambulance chasing formula, you have to introduce a grieving family, right? You've got to put the grieving family before the public has even had enough time or information to reach an informed conclusion. It doesn't matter. Go ahead and put the baby out there. Let her talk. Put the mic in. Put the mama. Let the mama cry and wail and talk about him didn't do nothing. You got to do that. And, you know, we're going to show it. Then what you need to do, you must use emotionally loaded language. This was an execution. This was a lynching. They just murdered him in cold blood. This was somebody's son. You have to say all of that before the investigation is complete. And then the last thing that you must do, boys and girls, you mustn't forget this part. You've got to minimize or just conveniently omit the evidence presented that this man has a history of resisting, so the likelihood that he really was resisting in this situation was probably true. You cannot mention the weapon. No, do not let your eyes are deceiving you. No mention or discussion of the weapons. No mention or discussion of his criminal conduct or the drug use or all of the other complicating facts, because those facts are inconvenient. And then this part is super important. No good race hustle or fake civil rights hoax is complete unless you mobilize the activists. You have to mobilize the activists to put the political pressure on. They have to come with the chants. They have to come with the slogans. And oh, I forgot. You got to say his name, right? Remember, he needs a name to add to his fake victim race hoax Hall of Fame, right? You say his name. So chant. It's an incantation. I call it the Marxist musings and the Marxist incantations that indoctrinate you and almost have like a spell like impact by saying their name, right? It's like an invocation. Then what's the other? It's got a whole recipe. You know, sometimes you cook something, you like, I know I'm missing something. What is that missing ingredient? You got to warn the city. That is the missing ingredient. You have to tell the city and issue that clarion call to say there will be no peace. No peace unless these authorities produce the outcome that we want. Don't forget that part. That was the missing ingredient. Ben Crump, he doesn't merely represent these clients within the framework of the legal system because he's interested in justice for these people. Like, they call him. So first thing, if a family's calling him, you like, okay, I already know the kind of people we dealing with. Brace yourself for the BS. It's coming, right? You got to brace yourself for the BS, especially if they call him. And usually, this is interesting. I would love to know if there's information to support if these families are reaching out to him to retain him, or if he's just showing up, oh, mi señorita Ruiz, me so sorry, me perdonme for your loss. You know, we know what happened to Papi. You see what happened to Papi? How they did him like that? I wonder if he shows up and offers his services while they're grieving, rubbing their back, and then explaining on the back end, you know, we'll go over all of the particulars and my office will send you the paperwork. Yeah, but we want to get justice. We want to get justice for, was it Corey? Is that his name? Yeah, Nolan is still on my mind. We're going to get justice for Corey, but, you know, we got to see, do you have any assets? Did Corey had any life insurance? Because, you know, we might be able to get somebody to pay for that funeral if y'all ain't got the money. And we'll help you, you know, set up the GoFundMe. And you know, if you'd be so inclined to, you know, make a donation, sometimes, not always, you know, if you feel led to the National Action Network, because, you know, we're gonna pull out all of our resources and our foot soldiers on the ground because we want justice for you. Like, I'd be curious to know how this works. I almost need something to happen so I can call Ben Crump and say, hey, I need your help, and find out if my case will qualify for representation from him. But one thing we know for certain is that Ben Crump is going to frequently appear to try cases in the street. Then we catch him, we caught him telling the truth. Like, he dry snitched and said he's trying this in the court of public opinion. Like, before we even get to the legal system, he wants to try it in the streets before it can be examined in the courtroom. Because what's in the court, like the truth and the facts and evidence, doesn't matter. He'll just convert uncertainty and incomplete investigations. He'll turn that into an accusation, right? So if you're grieving, he needs your grief. And it's legitimate. Like, somebody's child and daddy died. Yes, he was a career criminal. And I'm trying to be sensitive, but when you a mama of somebody that stayed in and out of jail and in trouble, like, you know this is coming. Like, this didn't catch, ma'am, I'm sorry, this didn't catch you by surprise. No shade. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. This content is for my audience. So it's the truth. All of us, not all of us, some of us actually come from well-adjusted families and we don't have a bunch of criminals, but everybody is familiar when you have members in your family that they're always in trouble. Like, you already know that little pistol starter, by the time he's 21, he gonna be locked up. You just know it. You know. Mamas know. They know. So if there's incomplete evidence, from Ben Crump's perspective, he's going to turn that into racial certainty. This have to have been racially motivated. You know, they always shooting black men in the street. No matter what they do, you can't check cars while black, steal bikes while black, break into people's houses while black. You know, you can't do nothing but and be black. You can't even stay black and die. Like, you can't. Okay, that was funny. Okay, anyway, let me focus. Y'all pray for me. Oh gosh. All right. I gotta get to this clip with the family, because I said they are so wrong for putting this baby on camera, and this mama know that she full of it. Look. Y'all can fight about it and battle me and keyboard thug it in the comments, but I'm about to say what I'm about to say. This man has lost his life. We get it. But we're tired of being gaslit and emotionally and racially manipulated by these stories, when these families who demonstrate that their character is trash, when they decide to get in front of a camera and want to convince the world that their terror on 2 feet, him didn't deserve it, right? Or, I know it was 40 cases and all of these convictions, and he always fight the police, but this time, him didn't deserve it. Like, when are we ever going to have a parent that stands in front of the camera and say, I am grieving for the loss of my son, and we tried to help him as much as we could and get him on the right track, but he's reaping the fruits of the seeds that were sown. And I want to tell other young people, don't be like this. Submit to authority. Obey your parents. Stay in school. Ask for help when you need it. But we are not going to exploit my son's death so that this ambulance chasing race baiting pimp right here can make money and entice me with the world's riches because I have a character and I'm better than this. No, they always find a family that's, look, well, how much? How much you offering? You need me to cry on you? What you need me to do? We'll put the baby out there. She ain't know him that much. She just met him anyway. He ain't been paying no child support because he couldn't keep a job. Like, where's the lie? That is essentially what has to happen, or a narrative close to it, for these families to allow themselves to be exploited like this. These people are not victims. It is a reflection of their character. It is a reflection of who they are. When they call Ben Crump and Al Sharpton, that is already telling you that they are operating in darkness. They're incredibly deceived, or they're in on the grift because they're being promised what their wicked heart already desires. Yeah, I know y'all don't like that. It is what it is. So let's take a look. That is not the right clip. I opened up the wrong one. Here we go.
My son.
All right. Let's go back.
Was an exceptional guy. He was my love. He loved his daughter. He loved his family. He did not deserve to be taken out like that. They took my baby from me. So I never thought I would have to bury my baby before you buried me. And I would never.
My day started, I looked at the time, and I had one on my phone. And then I had called my cousin. We were just talking for a little bit, then my mom called me. She called me saying that she wished she told me something that was in when she was at the house. And I was so confused. I was like, what is she talking about? And she said that my dad has been shot. My heart was so broken, I don't even know how to put it in words. Then I asked, because, you know, sometimes if you get shot, you might live off of that. When she told me he had been shot and dead and killed, I started crying. I didn't even know what to say. I didn't know what to do. My heart was just so broken, and it just hurt so much knowing I can't see my father anymore. People, whoever is saying, oh, but he was a criminal. So what? He had a family. He had me.
Listen, this is not this baby's fault. I'm going to do my best to temper my commentary around her words. I will tiptoe a little bit more carefully than I would, because she is right. That was her father. You know, children don't ask to be here. They don't get to choose their parents. Him being her father is a truth claim, and it is unfortunate. But at the same time, we must speak truth to our children. Two things can be true at the same time. Like, she should be allowed to grieve and mourn and be shocked that the father, the man that she has known as her father, is no more. But if I were her mother, I would say, baby, you're going to grieve. We'll get you whatever biblical counseling that we can. But I am hoping that during this season, the Lord shows you the consequences of what living a sinful life will yield. And I pray that the Lord uses this for your good and his glory, and that you would cling to the Savior and be more painfully aware of your own sin and repent of it, because now your father can't. He's done a lot of bad things. It doesn't mean that he didn't love you, but he made some choices where he chose a life of crime before he chose you. And that's what makes this grief so hard and so difficult to deal with and get over. But we're going to get to it. We're going to get through it together. That's something that I probably would say if I were in this situation. But this is not this baby's fault. So we're going to move it aside from baby girl right here. And we're going to put the spotlight on the ambulance chasing, race baiting pimp right here, who is willing to exploit her genuine words about her father and put her on the camera in front of the watching world to present a narrative that he knows is not true. Also, that he can garner attention, stir up unrest, and do the bidding for the Democrat Party, which is, we need a distraction. All right, Ben. Now, you done went down there to Mississippi and you had all the necessary conditions for a racial uprising, and you did not produce the results. So you got to figure something out. Head your behind up to Wisconsin, and you better give us what we want. Okay? We need you to rile up the blacks. We already told you, not only is the Democrat Party broke, but black folks are thinking for themselves, and they're not voting for us like they used to. We need you to come through for us, Ben. We've been there for you. We done paid you real good, allegedly. We need you to come through, Ben. Don't let us down. So what did Ben do? In the middle of the Nolan Wells investigation, after the autopsy comes out, after he declines the interview by Brandon Tatum, what does he do? Oh, we can't talk no more. And you know, he done moved on. He done turned the page. Christine Wansley's probably like, well, what about us? He like, what about you? I'm over here now. There's cops involved with this. You ain't had no police. We don't know. Your boy probably drowned. That's probably what he probably saying to himself, or just avoiding her calls. I don't know. Wasn't there. I'm just saying. Speculation. But here's how I'd like to engage. I don't need to see this anymore. Here's how I'd like to engage with this clip. Mama, you know, your mom is your mom, okay? And unfortunately, sometimes as mamas, we don't see our children rightly because they're our babies. But this almost 40-year-old, okay, he was her baby. She's speaking of him affectionately because she's a mother. But I am calling so much cap on the breakdown at the podium when Consuela said, I never imagined me burying my baby. Ma'am.
Flag on the play.
I'm sorry. I don't believe you. You don't even believe you. As many times as Corey has been in trouble, you are that mom that laid awake at night wondering if that night was going to be the night because he was always into something. You know how many times you done been down to the jail, been down to the court, got the phone call, Corey done showed out again, Corey did this. Like, at this point, it's, you know your son. You know your son better than anybody else. You knew that 9 times out of 10, you would be burying Corey before he buries you. Nobody believes you, man. I wish these people would just be honest. Like I said, I wish we would get a mama who would issue the clarion call for young people to submit themselves to authority and stay out of trouble, because if you live a life of crime, this is what happens to you. Use my son's death as an example to do better, because this keeps happening too much. But instead, these people of no moral character and just, they allow themselves to be exploited. They're not victims. Notice how I said they allow themselves to be exploited, because they could easily say, I don't want Ben Crump anywhere near around this. We already know what he's here for, and he's not here for us. No, you can't represent the family. No, I don't want you showing up to the press conference. I don't want your support, and I don't want you rubbing my back. I want you to go away. Go find another family to exploit, because we are not it. That's what a family of upright moral character would say. But if there's what's in it for me behind it, you'll shed a tear, you'll cry, you'll do a little of this and break down like you shocked. This woman is not shocked that this is how Corey's life ended. She has been well prepared and acclimated with his life of crime, because she says he was an exceptional guy. And I'm like, yes, exceptional at a life of crime. He was good at it. Very well versed in it. Proficient, if you will. To say that, I know this is your baby, but you're not shocked. The only way you could be shocked if you said, I had not been in Corey's life. We didn't really know what Corey was into. We've been estranged for 20 years. Had you said that, then I'd be like, yeah, she really is shocked. She didn't know. But if you're going to speak affectionately about your son this way and call him an exceptional guy, my follow-up question is, exceptional at what? Because here's what I think he was exceptional in. Wrong one. This is Corey's reported conviction categories. I just want to compile it and make it real simple for everybody to see. We have approximately 40 misdemeanors and felony convictions across at least 25 criminal cases. You right, ma'am. Consuela, you right. He was exceptional. Now, I don't know if her name is really Consuela. She can be Maria. Pick one. I don't know. We have disorderly conduct. We have drug possession. So not the disorderly conduct and the drug possession isn't just a crime that didn't hurt nobody. This affects others. You are a nuisance and a whole public headache because you don't know how to act. You can't control yourself. You can't restrain your impulses. That's essentially what disorderly conduct is. Drug possession. That means you are involved in illegal activity, whether you are consuming the drugs or selling the drugs. Either way, this is harmful to a well-ordered society. Theft. Retail theft. That means, oh, we got a little entitlement here. I don't have to buy it. If I want it, I take it because I deserve. I don't care that this store had to buy inventory, and in order for us to exchange the good or the service, I got to pay for it. No, I'm going to just take it. So we got theft, retail theft, auto theft. Oh, we like taking property of high value that belongs to others. So you just stealing people's cars. Why? Because I guess you entitled and you figure you want it, so therefore you should have it. Battery. Oh, you don't comply with what I want, I just punch you in the throat. I just beat you down. I mean, the terroristic threats and the threats of violence against the police leads me to believe that he wasn't just writing checks that he couldn't cash. Battery, yeah, he probably would have followed through on some of those threats if given the opportunity. Ma'am, you're right. Your baby was exceptional. Invasion of privacy. This man does not respect boundaries. He's like, oh, I can't go there. Yeah, watch me. Watch me. Just invading other people's privacy. No boundaries, no restraints. I do what I want. Yes, he was exceptional, Consuela. Yes, he was. Oh, cocaine possession. He like booger sugar. Okay. We see you, Corey. Cocaine. We're not saying he used it. We don't know if he was selling it. All we know that it was in his possession. So whether he was using a booger sugar or selling a booger sugar was in his possession. Marijuana possession. Oh, Mary Jane. So at this point, I guess, you know what? Let's minimize the marijuana possession because everybody these days smoke weed. Shoot, people, grandma and Medea and Mimi's are out here smoking weed these days. So we're going to give him a pass on the marijuana possession. Let me guess. He had pressure in behind his eyes and it relieved the pressure from the glaucoma. Okay, yeah, we'll let that one slide. Robbery. Let's just move on. No sense in splitting hairs. That means he going to roll up on you. And if you got what he want, he gonna take it. He's going to take it. So not only is he stealing from businesses, this is from individuals. I'ma rob you because I want it. Strangulation. Oh, we likes to choke people out. You just squeeze until they can't breathe no more. That means if he's willing to strangle you, what stopped him? What kept him from taking somebody's life? Nothing. No restraints. Resisting bodily harm. I am assuming this combination here is the police are trying to restrain him. He's resisting and causing bodily harm at the same time. Looks like we have a pattern here. He don't submit and listen to nobody. If he's not submitting to the authorities, ma'am, he wasn't listening to you either. But you want us to believe he was exceptional. Exceptional at what? A life of crime? A whole menace. Yes, Cam. A whole menace. Repeated resisting and obstructing. So it didn't just happen one time and then afterwards, he's like, you know what? I learned my lesson. It is not fun fighting with the cops. My body was sore afterwards. And no, he's like, whenever I don't want to do it, I'm going to resist and obstruct. Threatening officers. We already covered that. So we have 8 convictions reportedly involving resisting, threatening, obstructing, or injuring law enforcement. And you, Consuela, want us to believe that he was exceptional. Yeah, okay. If you say so. I agree. You're right. He was exceptional. Exceptionally criminal-minded. Yeah. So, where are we now? Let's go back to Ben for a second, because Ben is sleazy. Ben is real sleazy. And y'all doing all right? Let me grab these super chats before we move on to Ben some more. Hey, Crystal, thank you so much for your super chat. All this stinks of a political push by the left. Republicans are in power now, so they need a BLM 2.0. Yeah, they need a summer of love. See, the summer was almost over, and they were trying to figure out we need another Minnesota. Yeah, they needed another BLM 2.0, another summer of love. I've heard reports that they've already established an autonomous zone. And they're hoping for the civil unrest. BLM has been activated. Antifa has been activated. They want this. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your support tonight. I agree. Brother Lamont, thank you for sponsoring tonight's show. Brother Lamont said, flag on the play. Listen, I don't even remember what you were throwing that flag on, but there were so many tonight, whether we were going through the rap sheet or whether we were acknowledging all of the necessary conditions that Ben Crump usually needs in order for him to show up on the scene and do what the Democrats allegedly pay him to do, which is stir up unrest. We will have no peace unless we get the outcome that we want. He's looking for a settlement. Possibly, I don't know, pursuing a wrongful death lawsuit. Maybe encourage them to start a GoFundMe. Maybe you can get Tyler Perry to pay for this funeral. I could tell you eventually Tyler gonna get tired. He's like, look, I'm down here trying to make these films and these bootleg shows with all this homosexual perversion in it. I ain't got time to be funding all these funerals. Now I paid for that one because that one was special and it was a little different and it was in Mississippi. You got me once, but Ben, don't call me no more to pay for no more funerals. I'm not doing. Call Spike Lee. Let Spike underwrite this one. I'm not doing it. So, yes. So, somebody said Recal Media is a criminal supporter. Yeah, mental health is an excuse. It sure is, Clinton. It sure. That was my daddy's name. That just flowed off my tongue so effortlessly. Thank you. Yes, I did say homie dies. Y'all don't leave me alone. Listen, we're gonna continue. It's just my lips are dry. Hold on. We're gonna continue. The only clips that I had that I was gonna show you guys, I wanted y'all to see the news story, right? And then I wanted you guys to see that the short. I had another one. I wanted y'all to hear from Ben. Let me see if I can find that. Y'all give me a second. Y'all got to hear Ben in his own words addressing the media on like I said, he's got a whole Hall of Fame list of dead black men and a few black women that he's used and exploited for his own selfish gain. What's the boy name? Ruiz. Sorry. I wasn't typing right. All right, I found it. Let's get this queued up, you guys.
People all over Wisconsin were shocked when they saw the execution of Corey Ruiz. People all over America are shocked when they see the execution of Corey Ruiz because they understand when they see that video that it was so unnecessary to execute him. It was unnecessary, unjustified, and unconstitutional how they executed Corey Ruiz.
This dude, I'm sorry. This dude is so counterfeit. This man said that the whole world was shocked. I said, we were? No, we weren't. Were you shocked? Put a 1 in the chat if you were shocked when you saw that video. I mean, let's just take a poll. It's what, 700 some odd people in this live stream? Put a 1 in the chat if you saw that video and you clutched your pearls and you like, I can't understand why the police would shoot Corey. Put a 1 in the chat because I wasn't shocked. I'm like, look at him go. He just won't stop fighting. Were you shocked? I wasn't. I wasn't shocked at all. I don't see any 1s in the chat. I don't believe y'all were shocked. So here's what he does. One of the live streams that I did on Nolan Wells, I went through all of the logical fallacies that Al Sharpton did at, I can't remember, I've done so much content on this, if it was at the funeral or, no, it was the press conference. I probably should do the same thing with Ben Crump. He assumes that the world was shocked when we saw that video, which it's a broad sweeping statement and it's a miscategorization and an assumption not based on reality. It's based on emotion. So I guess, what kind of fallacy would you call that? An appeal to emotion, maybe? I don't know. And then notice the word he used. Execution. You know, I'm big on definitions, and I think it's always important to define our terms. So when Ben Crump says execution, I'm like, okay, let's go with that. And let's do a means test. Let's determine if what we witnessed was an execution. Execution is the act of carrying out or putting into effect a plan, order, decision, task, or judgment. Now, depending on the context, because I know y'all saw, decision, context dictates the meaning. So don't be black and slow now. Keep up. Depending on the context, it can mean general, the process of completing or performing a task. Let's use it in a sentence, boys and girls. Example, the team's execution of the project was excellent, meaning they completed the project to its completion. Law, the enforcement of a court judgment or the carrying out of a death sentence. Example, the court ordered the execution of the judgment, meaning let's carry out this court judgment to its desired end, which is a death sentence. Computing, the process by which a computer runs a program or instruction. Example, the execution of the program took 2 seconds. In simple terms, execution means doing or carrying out something that has been planned or ordered. So let's talk about execution in the context of someone losing their life. Define and clarify this. One moment. What do we get? In the context of someone losing their life, execution has a very specific meaning that is often misused in public discourse. It's so interesting to watch an attorney be so reckless with his words, with no regard to the implications of what he's saying. Definition: an execution is the deliberate, intentional, and purposeful killing of a person by an individual or authority that has the person under its control or power. The defining characteristic is that the killing is intentional, not accidental or incidental. Let's make a distinction between accidental or incidental. Do we believe that the police officers, their gun was fired accidentally? No, absolutely not. They deliberately fired those shots. But what I would argue is that it was incidental, meaning the gunshots were fired as a direct result of their inability to control this brain dead moron because he was resisting the authorities, right? So, for example, if we're going to follow through the argumentation that Ben Crump is trying to make here, he is saying that they executed him, deliberately and intentionally and purposefully killed this man. And he gives no regard or leaves room for the fact that they had been actively trying to restrain this man for a while. Not one officer, not two officers, not three, 4 officers were trying to restrain this man because he was doing what he's proficient in. Remember? Resisting, y'all remember? I mean, do we need to show it again? Repeated resisting and obstructing, resisting with bodily harm. This man demonstrates a pattern. He demonstrates a pattern of resisting. So therefore, what are we to do? What are we to deduce from this? You want to levy the charge publicly and recklessly that these police officers acted in malice and planned to kill this man without taking into consideration. We didn't get to the gun, not the gun part, the tase. Okay, they didn't just go straight from, we can't put him in handcuffs, so let's just shoot him. No, they're like, all right, it's 4 of us, and we've pulled out the taser, and look at him go. He's strong. He's strong and rebellious. I mean, he's good at it. He's got a history of resisting and not being able to be controlled because he do what he want to do. So now, once we get to the point, now the knife is out. Oh, he's just escalated the threat. It's not like the police pulled out the knife. This man pulled out the knife. He escalated the threat. And then we've got 2 injuries. One was injured, received injuries sustained by the knife, allegedly, and one officer was injured just in the confrontation of it all. So my question is, how much injury are we supposed to allow our men and women in blue to sustain before they can neutralize these threats? You answer that for me, Ben Crump. But no, you don't want to answer that. What you'd rather do is get in front of the mic and in front of the press, use all of this inflammatory language and say they executed him. And look at the rhetorical device he used. He said it more than once. He's trying to use that word. He's curating a narrative. Y'all, I should have went to law school. I would beat the brakes off this man in a courtroom. I should have, but it's too late now. So now I just be a fake C student lawyer on the YouTube. But here's my point. Ben Crump is purposely using this inflammatory language. He said execution. Then he's appealing to your emotions. The whole world was shocked. And we're sitting here like, no, we weren't. We were not shocked at all. There may be some people, you have some with the white guilt and the pro-wokeity-woke, blackity-black, the chronic victim who you can't never trust. Yeah, maybe they were shocked. But well-adjusted, normal thinking people were not shocked. Those of us who do not have racial animus in our heart, those of us who don't hate the police, those of us who can look at objective reality and be like, they could not subdue, Buddy would not be subdued. What are we supposed to do? He claimed that it was so unnecessary. So if your argument, Ben Crump, is that them neutralizing this threat was unnecessary, what would you have had them do? Because here's what happens. Once that knife, which is a symbol and a threat of deadly force, are police officers are they not allowed to return deadly force in order to preserve their life and the lives of others? How do we know that the police officers, when they saw that knife, didn't see him attempt to stab one of their partners? For all we know, those gunshots were used in order to preserve the life of one of those officers. Somebody might be a hero. We don't know, because we are allowing the investigation to ensue. But from my vantage point, if it's 4 of us and we're scrapping with a criminal who we've already tried to tase him and we can't control him, and a gun comes out and they see him about to thrust that knife, and my partner sees me about to get stabbed in the back and he shoot, you're the hero of this story. Yes, indeed. But see, we can't have a discussion like that. Ben Crump is not interested in a discussion like that. Remember, he's a disruptor, right? Him and Jamal Bryant, they always want to implicate the police, and they want to create a very hostile environment surrounding the topic of policing so that we can further have the whole defund the police narrative being pushed so that chaos and anarchy ensue. They don't want to back the blue. Here's what I'm not saying. I am not saying that irresponsible policing should not be held accountable, but let the truth be told. Whenever Taquayshawn and them get involved with the police, 9 times out of 10, police are so on such a heightened alert these days. They don't want to use their firearm, but because Taquayshawn can't be controlled, what you want them to do? What do you want them to do? One of my good friends spends most of his time traveling all around this country because every time a police officer is gunned down in the line of duty, we never get chance to say their names. We never get to hear anybody tell their stories, to talk about the families that they leave behind because they go out there every day. Despite the Democrat Party diminishing what they do, devaluing what they do, and want to defund what they do and put them in harm's way, we never hear anybody say their names. You never see a montage video of some saying this police officer died in the line of duty because some Taquayshawn or some Corey decided he wanted to resist and fight and threaten these police officers, and then they lose their life. Law-abiding citizens understand that it is necessary to have law enforcement for a well-ordered and non-chaotic society. But the social Marxists, the cultural Marxists, the disruptors, the agitators, and the BLM and the Antifa faction of this country, they don't want law and order. They want chaos, and the more, the merrier. So what are we supposed to do? Are we to let individuals like Ben Crump continue to stoke the flames of racial tension and anti-police and police hatred? Is that what we're supposed to do? Because from my vantage point, this is how I'm going to tie together what we saw go down in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. We watched Ben Crump attempt to frame the whole Nolan Wells case through America's familiar racial vocabulary. It's Mississippi. Mississippi was burning. And he black and they white. What else are we supposed to think? But you know what happened? Ocean Springs refused. They refused to
People all
become
over Wisconsin.
the next Ferguson. They refused. They were like, yeah, don't bring that mess down here. Ocean Springs, Mississippi did not give Ben Crump what he wanted. He came there sniffing out blood, and they like, yeah, we're not giving you what you want, Ben. Sorry, we're conducting this investigation. You are free to do your independent investigation and your independent autopsy, but I can tell you what, one thing's true and two are for certain. We're not releasing any information until our investigation is complete. Ocean Springs refused to become Ferguson 2.0. They tried to go down there and stir up some racial tension, but it didn't work. Oh yes, the case received national attention, but you know what? The community did not erupt into the kind of sustained racial disorder that turns Crump into the center of a national media spectacle. Instead, he made a fool out of himself by posting on social media baseless claims and things that had been unsubstantiated and unfounded, because all he wanted to do was muddy the waters and just stir up the confusion. And you can't never nail him to a wall, because first it's this and then it's that, and then he can invoke plausible deniability. Like, well, I didn't say that, but then what I had said, and oh, look over there, somebody else got shot by the police. Up, time to dip, gotta go. That's what happened. The racial theory surrounding that Nolan Wells case, it didn't become established merely because Crump and the other activists repeatedly implied it. What they did was they were unable to get the legs up under it that they needed, because truth be told, people saw the grift for what it was. We wanted to remain open. We wanted to be objective. We wanted to grieve. We're grieving Nolan because Nolan seemed like a good kid, and we still don't know what happened to him. But our first knee-jerk reaction wasn't the white folks had to have done it. We was just like, we can't make that leap in logic. You out here looking stupid. If that is the conclusion that you come to, unless you have evidence to point to such an assertion. So now, whether by calculation or convenience, Ben Crump has now attached himself to a new case, right? And this one is far more politically useful. It's got more ingredients. Remember, I said Mississippi had all the necessary conditions to stoke up some racial. He thought he hit the jackpot with that one, but this one, Nolan Wells gave him a few victimhood infinity stones. I'm going to give it to him. It did. But this Corey Ruiz case is giving him the whole gauntlet. I told y'all he got police. He has gunfire, a viral video, no body cam footage, alleged mental illness, or, they can imply that, him was crazy, right? You got homelessness, because his family all cares about him, allegedly, but there are reports that said Corey was estranged from his family. So mama, him so exceptional, why he wasn't staying with you so he get on his feet? I mean, I just have questions. Is it because you don't trust him because he's still? Oh, yeah, I think this may have something to do with it. Robbery, auto theft. He was probably doing booger sugar in the house. I don't know. These are just assumptions. These are my opinions. Do not take what I'm saying here regarding this as gospel fact. I don't know. May have been some addiction. I know he spent a lot of times involved in trouble. And now the professional protesters and the agitators, they've been summoned. They've been summoned because it doesn't matter. Him having this lengthy criminal history, the activists are just going to dismiss that. And they love those three magical words. It doesn't matter. Why? Because Black lives matter. And you're like, okay, it doesn't matter because Black lives matter. I agree, Black lives do matter, but why is it that Black lives don't matter in the womb? Black lives don't matter when y'all want to sexually transition our children. Black lives don't matter when you do nothing to talk about the restoration of Black families. Black lives don't seem to matter unless the police are involved or when we can implicate and blame white folks. Did I sum it up? Did I get it all right? Did I get it all right? I don't know. I think I did. But the issue is, they may say it doesn't matter. The pattern recognition that we see from the way this man lived his life. I mean, this wasn't like he had a bad season. His whole adult life, like if you're 38 in the past 20 years, is this? I mean, you're pretty proficient in it. This is what you do, and this is who you are. So saying it doesn't matter is not true. It does matter. It may not automatically determine whether the officer's final shots were justified. Keep those two categorically separated. But it absolutely matters when activists attempt to present Corey Ruiz as someone whose confrontation with police was just shocking. We were so shocked. Not Corey. You mean Corey from the block that's always in and out of jail? Oh, no, it can't be that Corey. Yes, that Corey. They're like, oh, well, you know. I mean, it's just another Tuesday for Corey. This is not completely out of character for him, having him running around, breaking in people's cars and stealing bikes and stuff. Am I wrong? Y'all know I'm not wrong. Crump wants you to ignore the record. I told y'all, we got the Wisconsin court record has described approximately 40 misdemeanor and felony convictions across 25 criminal cases. Y'all, that's a lot. Okay? I've already gone through what it includes. Shall we go through the list again? Okay. Disorderly conduct, theft and retail theft, auto theft, drug possession, felony cocaine and marijuana possession, battery, robbery, strangulation, invasion of privacy. I'm about to start singing a whole song. Threatening officers, resisting officers, and causing bodily harm to law enforcement officers. I mean, what y'all want me to do? Y'all, I'm about to end this live stream because what else we need to say? What do y'all want me to do? Y'all want me to give him the benefit of the doubt? Okay. Perhaps none of this is relevant to his current behavior that led to his demise. I can't even say it with a straight face. I tried. I really tried, you guys, but I can't. Most relevant to understanding the behavioral pattern, this man had reportedly been convicted 8 separate times of resisting, obstructing, threatening, or injuring police. We need to let that settle for a moment. Just let it marinate down in your spirit. I'll read it again. 8 separate times of resisting, which means if you give him a lawful command, 8 out of 10 times, he's probably not going to comply. He's going to obstruct. He's going to threaten. And somebody's going to get hurt, injuring police. So if that is true, I'm trying to understand, what do you want us to do with this? Are the police officers, are they supposed to allow him to stab them? Let that settle for a moment. It didn't say that he was accused 8 times. No, that's not what it says. It didn't say that he was merely arrested 8 times. The record says convicted 8 times for conduct involving resistance, threats, obstruction, or violence toward law enforcement. Ben, you wasted your time. You could have saved money on that plane ticket and just stayed and kicked your feet up and tried to figure out what your next move was going to be in this Nolan Wells case, because this is just too easy. Like, this the whole layup. You are wasting your time. And I am of the opinion, this is my opinion. I have no facts to verify this, but it is speculative. At this point, the Democrats are like, Ben, we don't care if the facts on this, we out here looking stupid. Just go. Go up there and raise some cane, because we're broke and we're desperate and it's a midterm election. Now we need you to be you've been a good overseer for us for a long time. You've been practicing Jerome Crow politics for a long time, but the people are on to you Ben. Now your Jerome Crow politics is not working. It don't really have the oomph that it used to. And then why is it in between all of these fake Jerome Crow race hoax cases? You've done nothing to work on your diction or your articulation. You sound worse now than you did 8 years ago, Ben. We done paid you a lot of money, Ben. You could have got you a tutor. You could have did some read this fundamentals, some hooked on phonics worked for me. I mean, all kinds of things. Khan Academy. You could have done something to at least be a better representation of the race hoax coalition. This is a layup to me. I am not saying Corey Ruiz deserved to die. What I am saying is we are looking at pattern recognition. And so should you. You got somebody who is repeatedly fighting with the police. This man pled guilty to threatening officers in 2021. In 2023, he was convicted of battery to a law enforcement officer and resisting an officer. And then in 2025, he was convicted of retail theft and resisting police. Every time this man encounters the police, he like, I'm about to fight you. So are we to believe that this was a one-off? I forgot. We caught him on a bad day. Is okay. I'll allow it. Whatever. In May of 2026. Okay, what month is it? It is July. In May of 2026, this man was released from prison and had allegedly absconded from supervision before that fatal encounter. Absconded means he escaped. He weaseled his way and avoided, I guess, supervision, house arrest. And that's when he had that other encounter with resisting police. Still not saying he deserved to die. But I am saying that this man's his behavior in that encounter, right? Flight, like he's a runner. He a track star, right? So he's going to run, he's going to resist, then the confrontation with police, and then allegedly using a weapon. That didn't emerge from nowhere. We are looking at pattern recognition. This is not hard. It's really simple and binary. So I'll end with this. It's a simple question. Why was this man still out on the street? Like, can somebody answer me that? Is this a reflection of the restorative justice culture that we've been cultivating over the past couple of years? Right? Why is he still out? Because let me tell you the message that this sends to his daughter. Lord forbid if she was a boy, but she's a girl. The message this sends to his daughter is that you can live a life of crime and be involved in all kinds of criminality. And at the end of the day, there are no consequences for your actions. You barely suffer anything. But the only time people care about all of the hell you've been raising is when, while involved in the very thing that you've got a track record of doing, you get shot and then you die. Now, all of a sudden, everybody want to come in and give you some of their time and attention, right? Like, I'm trying to understand, there is a question that the racial grievance industry, they never want to answer this. How did a man with approximately 40 reported convictions keep cycling through the system? Can Democrats answer that for me? This is the party that wants to do away with the prison system. We don't need jails. Isn't that what the Democrats, Socialists of America, they don't want prisons. They want to abolish the police. They want people like this roaming free at your expense. And not just that. If you're stupid enough to think that that makes sense, they also want to take your guns from you. So that means when Taquayshawn is out, and now you've ignorantly handed in your guns because you know guns are bad and we need to stop gun violence. So we need gun control. So let me make sure I understand this. You want to get rid of the prison system. You want to abolish the police, and you want me to turn in my guns. Oh, well, it's just open season. This might as well be the purge. But the only people that's going to have weapons are the criminals. Can someone make this make sense to me? Explain to me how progressives, and which at this point, let's be precise, Democrats, because it's only brain dead Democrats that are advocating for this. Explain to me how it's supposed to work if we defund the police and we abolish the prison system and you confiscate our guns. Now, let me fix that. Not our guns. It's no we. We don't speak French. Your guns, because ain't nobody taking mine. You're going to have to pry it out my cold, dead hands. All of them. The ARs, the 9mm, the shotgun. I mean, all of them. We like pew pew life is all I got to say. That's it. We keep Jesus in our heart and a 9mm on the hip. All day, every day. So if they want to take your guns from you, I want to levy this question to every Black Democrat alive. If the party of perverts, liars, psychopaths, and anti-Christian bigots, if you love Jesus and you claim you a believer, how do you explain what is your recourse if you keep electing these socialists who want to abolish the police, defund the police, get rid of the prison system, abolish if they can, but if not, at minimum, defund the police, and then you're going to turn your guns in to them? What's your plan? You gonna fight Taquayshawn with some rocks and some gravel from the yard? I mean, can explain to me. And for those of you in Georgia who think if you vote for Keisha Lance Bottoms that she is not completely on board, her Democrat handlers have her on board with defunding the police. Yes, the pretty light bright chick with the cute haircut, yes. She's going to do whatever they tell her to do because she knows what side of the bread, the butter, she knows what side of the bread is buttered on. So if they say, we need you to go out there and say this and support this, the Democrat Party is broke. She can't raise money without doing what her handlers say. So if they say we're defunding the police, she's going to defund the police. If they say we need you to sign legislation that advocates that we're not. Now, in Georgia, let me be fair. Do I think the prison system would ever be abolished? No. But this is not an overnight thing. But for you to be a Democrat, right now the Democrat Party is being hijacked by the socialists. And so what does that mean? That means if they're being hijacked by the socialists, somebody is funding that. So if you want to run and you need money for your campaign, what you think you're going to do? You're going to do something strange for some change. So once again, Black Democrats, the pro-wokity-woke bliggities, I'd love to ask you the question, do you think it makes sense in your context? I'm not saying you live in the hood, but the hood that you are familiar with, does it make sense for us to abolish the prison system? You got cousins that you want to stay in there indefinitely, but let's go with it. We abolish the prison system, and then we defund the police. So now when you call, they're not coming. All you, the 92% of the Black women, yeah, when they show up to your door and he's demanding to get in because he wants to assault you, who are you going to call? You know you ain't got no man at home. You single and you're childless. Who are you calling? Who's going to protect you? There's no time for the police to come. Oh, you thought you were going to run and go get your handgun because you went to the gun range? You've turned in your guns because gun control. Yeah. What is your plan? Heavily degreed. I got a PhD. I'm going on my girls' trips. I'm leveling up. I'm on my glow up journey. What's your plan? How are you going to protect yourself? Remember, you have no man. It's you and your other middle-aged, dried up, post-menopausal girlfriend. Y'all sharing a house together now. The two of y'all can't protect yourselves. There are implications to your vote that you've given no thought to because you feel seen by the Democrats, right? They gave you DEI, gave you a nice little good government job that you didn't earn. But then that went away once the standard was, oh no, you got to compete based on merit. Either you can do the job or you can't. We're not about to make up some job for you so you can be overpaid and underqualified. What's your plan, sis? There are implications to being in the 92%. You don't have to like Republicans, but at least we want to keep you safe, keep you armed. But I know. What do I know? It's the white man's fault, right? It's the misogyny, the xenophobia. What else? What are the other buzzwords? Nobody hates women. But I'm specifically speaking to women who look like me. Explain the logic. I know that's hard for you because you and logic in the same sentence is repulsive. They're polar opposites, but try for a minute. Try to explain to me the logic behind you supporting a policy that can't, a party with policies that can't even put your safety first, but they claim they want to protect women. First of all, they can't even define what a woman is, but see how we get into the weeds and how this takes us down other rabbit trails that you've given no thought to, but you just vote blue no matter who because of the pearls and the chucks and stuff. Yeah, all the symbolism over the substance. We don't give a darn if you like that man in the White House. You don't have to sleep with him. Most of y'all ain't sleeping with nobody. No, you are. He ain't putting a ring on it. I'm on one tonight. I am. Because I'm frustrated. Because I need logic to return to the marketplace. I need women to stop for a moment and say, you know what? This does not make any sense. We are effectively voting for a party that wants to we will be extinct because we traded sexual liberation and the ability to decide to murder a baby in the womb. And we thought we were being empowered and selecting freedom. But we're beyond the rate of replacement. Do you know what that means? That means the little bit of voting power that you think you have at the 92%, it's dwindling. It's waning. Because not enough of us are being born to replace the ones that are alive today. So effectively, a Black American in 2026 is darn near an endangered species. Like, they need to put us on the list. And we're not endangered because white people are hunting us down. No, it's not that. You need to own up to the fact that we're endangered because most of us don't see the light of day because we can't survive the assault, the womb assassination at the hands of the medical hitman that our mamas hired to do the dirty work. And if we manage to survive that and make it earthside, we don't talk about, because of all the broken families, the emotional wounds that causes, that leads to this single mother out of wedlock birth rates that's skyrocketed out of control, which leads to the Corey Ruizes of the world leading a life of crime. where he doesn't know how to submit himself to authority because he has no concept of what that looks like. He ain't never seen a man at home. So my question is, at what point are you going to think through the implications of your voting choices and realize that you're doing it wrong and that you're voting for your own demise and that the last thing you should want is to be dependent on the government or to be waiting for crumbs that the master hands you, but rather saying, keep these roads paved, keep these trains running on time, keep your paws off my guns, and outside of that, leave me the heck alone. I can figure the rest out all by myself. I don't need the government to be my big daddy because now I've matured and I'm emotionally regulated enough to where I can go and actually get my own big daddy that's not the government. So, on that note, you guys, I was going to cover another story on Zohran Mamdani, but I'll probably pre-record that and drop that tomorrow. I'm tired, I'm dehydrated, and it's time to say goodbye. It's been a pleasure. I've loved covering Ben Crump and all of his woke Infinity Stone Avenger antics. It's fun. I love it. I actually love covering stuff like this. But he exposes himself. But more importantly than that, I hope you guys understand that he's part of a larger apparatus. This is absolutely part of the Democrat Party 2026 election interference strategy. They're hoping that situations like this can sway elections and emotionally manipulate enough people, white liberals and blacks included, to think twice about their voting choices because they're voting for the symbolism rather than the substance. And it doesn't matter. They'll use a career criminal who was well-versed and proficient at engaging with the police in an adversely negative way. It don't matter. He's dead now and the police shot him. Forget the knife. Y'all focused on the wrong thing. So what? The daughter said it. So what? He was a criminal. She's even learned and been trained to be like, so what? He was a criminal. And so what? At the time of his death, he was engaging in criminality. So what? That to me is the saddest part. She's been raised to see that that is no big deal. It doesn't matter that he was trying to possibly take the life of these police officers and they were trying to restrain the lawbreaker. So what? So what? He was a criminal. Her words, not mine. I'm going to grab the rest of these super chats. I am so grateful that you guys are willing to support this show the way that you do. It means that the content I'm creating over here is adding value, and in exchange for the value that you get, you return the favor by supporting the show. So thank you for that. Red Cobblestone Red said, support your local police force. It is a thankless job, but they still go out and do it. Retired CPD. Red, thank you so much for your service, the sacrifices you made each and every day to protect people whose names you did not know, but you did it because it was the call of duty and it came with the job and you did it proudly. Thank you so much for your service. We appreciate all that you've sacrificed for the greater good of your local community. You guys, we should celebrate our law enforcement more because now there's no incentive to want to protect and serve. I remember when I was in elementary school, a lot of young boys was like, I want to be a police officer. I want to be a cop. Well, when you demonize police officers and you demonize the cops, nobody wants to sign up for that other than the crazy and the deranged. And then you get, which I'm not saying that's what happened in this situation because I don't believe that to be the case, but you get individuals who should not be policing, right? It attracts the wrong kind of people. So, God's verdict with Crystal. Hey, girl. I am hoping I'm going to see you on Saturday, Mama. I will be there. She said, hey, sis, miss you. Crump needed to pick... Crump needed to pick up Reading Rainbow. Take a look. It's in a book. The Reading Rainbow. Said he has no moral code. Amen. Of course he moved to an innocent career criminal. The love of money. Listen, sis, I'm going to be honest. LeVar Burton would have been like, come get him. I can't help him. He too far gone. Okay. Take him to Mr. Rogers. LeVar Burton would have said, y'all know how proper LeVar Burton would speak. I'm too advanced for him. The big eyes. He would have been like, I cannot. He's too far gone. He cannot read on grade level. He's probably, I would say Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers would have been frustrated with him too. Maybe Sesame Street. Baby Can Read. That would have been, yes. Baby Can Read. Y'all remember, I bought Baby Can Read for my son when they loved it. I mean, maybe that'll help Ben. I don't know. Anyway, I ain't got good sense. Y'all know it. She said, great show, sis. Thank you so much, beautiful. I appreciate it. Lord willing, I will see you this Saturday. With that being said, you guys, I have no other business to report other than we are still actively raising funds for Vince Everett Ellison's film. I was going to say, will you go to Help Me? That's the other one. Slavery is a Choice. If you've watched the show for any length of time, you've seen the trailers, you've seen the reels. We are putting this film production together, and we are like 80% and some change to our fundraising goal. We would greatly appreciate your support so that we can bring this film out. I am awaiting some current updates to determine what the release date will be. We still do have some film production that is underway, but we are actively working to be sure that we bring you the film that you have invested in and trusted us with, and we are so greatly appreciative for that. Other than that, I don't have anything else that is not true. Hold on, can't see. Kimberly Bell, hey beautiful, thank you so much for this super chat. April, I love your commentary. I love your energy and your commitment to the truth. You need an apron, honey, because you were cooking for real. Love you, sis. Actually, I had an apron in here. It's not my apron. It's over there. It didn't match my dress, but I know what you meant, girl. Listen, I love cooking a good meal and serving it up hot. And y'all can come back for seconds and thirds and fourths. What I tend to do when I cook real good in a live stream, typically what I'll do is I'll go back in the kitchen, right? And I will cut up the live stream and serve it in little itty bitty dishes and little serving bowls for people who like, girl, I love you. I do. But I don't want to sit for 2 hours and listen to you. So it would help us out if you can kind of chop this up in small bites, because I get indigestion when I eat too much too fast. So for that, I do that. If you ever notice, if you miss the live stream, no worries. I will go back and I will create abbreviated versions of the show. I try to keep them under 30 minutes. Sometimes it's just hard, but I try to keep them under 30 minutes. And then I release those for those who missed the live stream. And it's kind of like an encore. And sometimes even I've noticed when I have time to go back and watch an excerpt, there were things that I said. Sometimes I catch mistakes where I transpose my words. I do that a lot. But I noticed there were things that when I watch it the second time that I missed, and I'm like, you know what? A new thought will come to mind, or a new perspective will get challenged, and it just opens up the world for more conversation. So I hope that you guys, if you happen to come late to the live stream and you're like, I don't feel like watching the whole thing, just wait till the next day. Lord willing, I put out we call them chop outs or chapters so that you can watch it on your own time maybe on a lunch break, or while you're on the treadmill, or while you're cooking your dinner, you can just watch something shorter that's either 15, 18, or 30 minutes long. So, but anyway, I love you guys with the love of the Lord. And until next time, you guys, stand firm, stay bold, and above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and peace. I don't know if that's going to play. Yeah, I gotta clear some memory out on this darn computer. I really, really do. What am I looking for? I was looking for a video. Yeah, it's gonna play. Oh yeah, the memory is.
I'm April Chapman.
And I'm Ben Ellison. There's a victim narrative here in the United States of America that says you have no control over your lives, no control over your agency. And they're basically saying that you're an animal, that you're a slave. I don't believe that. I don't think it's ever been the case. As an heir of Jesus Christ and as a child of God, I cannot be oppressed. I cannot be a victim. I do not think I am, nor do I think that any American ever has been, or any person. Even when it comes to slavery, I believe, and I think they hold true, that slavery was a choice. You know how I know? Because people are choosing to be slaves now. So I'm making a documentary to debunk the myth that any human being or any American is held under bondage without their permission, even if they have to kill or give their lives to be free. Freedom is a choice, and slavery is a choice also.
We're asking you to partner with us. We are here. We have begun filming Slavery is a Choice, and it's an incredible documentary that outlines Vince's argument to prove to the world that slavery is absolutely a choice. I've partnered with him in the executive producer position, and we are appealing to our audience, you guys, those who watch us faithfully every single week, to help us bring this film to market. We've begun a crowdfunding campaign, and we're going to link the opportunity in the description below for you to partner with us and give any amount to help us bring this project to market. Slavery is absolutely a choice, and we know that slavery is a choice because we're choosing it today with many decisions that we continue to make to our own detriment. So we're hoping that you guys will partner with us, and we want to bring this film to market in summer of 2026. So click the link down below, and I'm April Chapman.
And I'm Ben Ellison. Freedom is a choice, but in order to be free, you must be brave. In order to not be a slave, you must believe in Jesus Christ. So believe in freedom, believe in courage, be courageous, assist us in this project, and let's set and make other people free by being true blue Americans, true blue patriots, true blue Christians, believing in ourselves and believing in the future ahead. Thank you.